More and more people are leaving the UK. According to the Office for National Statistics, around 517,000 people left the UK in the year to December 2024. It shows how busy the exit door has become. A separate wealth migration report projected that over 16,500 millionaires will have left the UK in 2025 alone. These are not small numbers. When both ordinary workers and wealthy investors are leaving, it is an indication of deep-seated and often worsening problems. This mass exodus is also not happening for one reason alone. It is the result of multiple push and pull factors, as we are going to explore in this video. First, let's look into the push factors. The first push factor is economic. Prices keep going up and wages are falling behind. Electricity bills rose 8% in the year to July 2025. Rents climbed 6.7% and mortgage payments remain high. Weekly earnings grew by a mere 5% and inflation expectations are stuck at their highest point since 2019. Jobs are hard to find and unemployment has crept up to 4.7%. People and media frequently talk about the heat or eat dilemma, whether to pay the energy bill or put food on the table. For most, the situation is that dire. The second push factor is the collapse in public services. The NHS waiting list reached 7.4 million cases in July 2025, covering about 6.25 million patients. Only 52% were seen within the target period of 18 weeks. A Care Quality Commission inpatient survey published in September 2025 revealed that 21% of patients reported receiving care in corridors, and the situation continues to deteriorate. The third push factor is Brexit. Prior to Brexit, Britons could move, live, work, set up businesses, and even retire in 26 other EU countries with few or no barriers. For millions of young and educated Britons, Europe was a natural extension of home. Brexit shut that door. Suddenly, opportunities that once stretched from Lisbon to Berlin to Athens disappeared. With Europe closed and the local economy struggling, many now look further afield. To Spain with stricter visas, to Dubai, to Australia, and even to faraway places such as Singapore and Malaysia. The British passport still carries weight, but the easy European pathway has vanished, leaving frustration and resentment, especially among younger professionals who feel betrayed. The fourth push factor is immigration. Ipsos's Issues Index in July 2025 found that 40% of Britons see immigration as one of the most important challenges facing the country, compared with 31% who mentioned the economy and another 30% who cited the NHS as the main challenge facing Britain. The Office for National Statistics recorded net migration of 431,000 in 2024, down from the 606,000 peak in 2022, but illegal and irregular channel crossings dominate headlines and media discussions. On 2 September 2025, more than 1,000 people crossed the channel in a single day, pushing the 2025 tally above 18,000 by early autumn. These figures fuel the perception that the government has lost control of the country's borders. Longer-term projections intensified the debate. Professor Matt Goodwin has argued that white British share of the population, now about 73%, will fall to 57% by 2050 and slip below 50% by 2063, making white British a minority in their own country. For many, this prediction is a matter of growing concern, not just about immigration levels, but about the cultural and national identity of Britain itself. The fifth push factor is crime and insecurity. The Crime Survey for England and Wales for the year ending March 2025 reported over 9.4 million offenses, including the highest jump of 31% rise in fraud cases. High-profile violent crimes and reports of failing police responses have reinforced the sense that the streets are becoming increasingly unsafe. For many, the rising disorder and insecurity have become inseparable from a wider breakdown of trust in institutions. The sixth push factor is the rapid growth in the threat of radical Islamism. In January 2024, his book Tahrir in Britain was proscribed, with the Home Secretary calling it a radical, anti-Semitic, and homophobic organization that sought to replace democracy with a global caliphate. Anjem Chowdhury was convicted again in 2024 for directing a proscribed extremist group after decades of publicly promoting the imposition of Sharia law. But general public remains concerned. Critics point to the existence of more than 80 Sharia courts across the UK, deciding marriage, divorce, and inheritance cases as a parallel legal system in the country. The media and public are increasingly speaking of Britain as the Sharia capital of Europe. There's also been a significant growth in no-go areas such as Luton, where Islamist protests and clashes with police attract media attention and ignite public debate. Commentators describe entire neighborhoods as off-limits to outsiders, with communal tensions rising each year. The seventh push factor is growing inter-community, ethnic, and sectarian tensions. British Future and the Belong Network in July 2025 described the UK as a powder keg, citing that only 36% of people said they had regular, meaningful contact with someone from a different ethnic background. Also, 31% of adults said they rarely or never meet people from different backgrounds in their local community, and a similar proportion, 30%, said they don't frequently meet other people at all in their local area. In another poll, the A Year On from Southport and Subsequent Riots poll by Ipsos on 3 August 2025 reported that 81% of Britons said the society is divided. Those aged 55 to 75 were even higher, with 91% saying Britain is divided. These numbers are clear evidence that most people perceive deep societal divisions along ethnic, racial, sectarian, and other communal lines, which can be extremely frustrating. The eighth push factor is growing ghettoization of major cities. Census 2021 data shows that 10 of London's 33 boroughs have majority non-white populations, including Newham at 69.2%, Brent, Redbridge, Harrow, and Tower Hamlets all above 60%. Outside London, Slough is 64% non-white, and Leicester is 40.9% non-white. Ethnic Facts and Figures shows London as a region is 46.2% non-white, with white British only 36.8%. In Havering, the white British proportion dropped from 83.3% in 2011 to 66.5% in 2021. Wards like Rayners Lane and Harrow have 56.1% Asian and only 25.5% white British. These changes align with high deprivation, strained services, and alienation. For many observers, this visible concentration of different groups feeds the sense that major cities are splitting into enclaves rather than integrating into one national community. The ninth push factor is an overall growth of instability and uncertainty in the country. Civil unrest and riots in 2024 rattled confidence in the ability of the state to maintain order, and many believe this will deteriorate further in future. Professor David Betts warns that Britain is headed for civil war, citing Islamist radicalism, uncontrolled immigration, and the loss of state legitimacy as key drivers. For many families, the fact that respected academics now talk of civil war is the final straw. The fear of a country tipping into violent instability is enough to push people into making plans to leave. Now, let's look into the pull factors. Once people weigh these push factors, the pull factors abroad become tempting and often irresistible. Spain remains the top choice. Its Interior Ministry figures show around 275,000 legally registered British residents in 2024, though unofficial estimates put the community closer to 400,000. A Currency's Direct British Expat Report 2024 placed Spain first, with Canada second and Australia third, confirming its enduring appeal. Reports from Compare My Move show that more than half of all Brits leaving in the last year went to Europe, with Spain, France, Italy, Ireland, and Germany leading the way. UKabroad.net observes that Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the USA, Portugal, and Ireland are among the fastest growing destinations. Meanwhile, First Move International notes that the USA has now overtaken Australia as the single most popular country for relocating Brits. Beyond Europe and the Anglosphere, Malaysia, with its Malaysia My Second Home scheme, relaunched in 2024, has also drawn thousands of British retirees and professionals looking for a modern and comfortable life abroad for much less than the UK. Dubai continues to grow as a hub for mid-career workers with tax-free incomes and a sense of order and safety that many feel Britain no longer provides. Based on recent estimates, it is believed that there are approximately 240,000 British expats living in Dubai alone, with the total number across the United Arab Emirates being slightly higher, and the numbers continue to rise. The overall picture is bleak, to say the least. The UK may not be collapsing, but large numbers of people increasingly turning pessimistic about the life and future there.
They see a visible decline in economic and other opportunities, radical Islamists gaining ground, big cities turning into ghettos, and no-go zones like Luton symbolizing lawlessness. They believe ethnic, communal, and sectarian tensions are intensifying, with respected academics like Professor David Betts warning of possible civil war. Combined with Brexit shutting Europe's doors, real figures on rents, bills, crime, and waiting lists, it is understandable why Brits are increasingly abandoning their once beautiful country, and departures are climbing. People have lost faith in the state to protect them, and so they are voting with their feet, heading for Spain, France, Italy, Australia, Canada, the USA, Dubai, and Southeast Asia in search of a safer, better, and saner life.